Is your iPhone overheating all the time? Well, it seems iPhone 17 could fix this because we have news about thermal upgrades coming to the next iPhone, so let's dive right in. So courtesy of Chinese tech site MyDrivers, apparently the complete iPhone 17 range is going to be adopting a vapor chamber heatsink for better thermals. This technology is already popular in the Android space, and if you're wondering how this works, essentially these chambers spread heat evenly across a large surface area, and this prevents thermal throttling on the device, and the device can maintain its peak performance for longer, which is great news for the Gensin Impact nerds gaming on their phones for hours. But also for those who take a lot of videos and photos, better thermals can improve the camera experience since your phone's less likely to dim the screen to make up for overheating. Now I do want to mention the iPhone 16 models already did give us some thermal upgrades which made a difference in my testing. I believe they included a new graphene sheet to dissipate heat, but a vapor chamber will make a bigger difference when you're pushing the device in extreme conditions like gaming and heavy usage of the camera as I'd mentioned. And ultimately I'll take any thermal upgrades. Considering this is coming to the iPhone 17 Air as well, this is a net positive because that device is going to be razor thin, and so Apple investing in thermals is a good idea because we don't want that phone overheating, and when they're giving that technology to iPhone 17 Air, they might as well give it to the rest of the iPhone 17 range as well. You know what you might as well do? Click that subscribe button, of course, it's free and it'll bring you the latest of Apple right to your subscription box, so please consider it. It would be appreciated. Join the Sarambai gang now. Anyway, let's delve into breaking news about the camera module on iPhone 17. We've really hit rock bottom, haven't we? So according to Weibo Fixed Focus Digital, the connection area between the camera bump and the back cover is going to be more of a slope than a step, and allegedly Apple's using brand new manufacturing techniques to achieve this groundbreaking upgrade that's going to get many people to buy iPhone 17. Okay, jokes aside, I'm assuming this design change is purely because the back of the iPhone 17 Pro is now going to be part aluminium, and so similar to older Pixels for example, where the bump was flush with the rails of the device, we could see the aluminium camera module on the iPhone integrated with the sides of the device. Another example I can think of is the Galaxy S21. Do you remember how the camera bump was integrated with the rails on that device? Maybe that's what we're getting with iPhone 17 Pro as well. Now to add to all of this, leakers are still unsure what kind of camera module we're getting in the first place. Initially rumors all said it would be a new horizontal layout similar to Pixels, which would make this iPhone stand out compared to every other iPhone we've had since the 11 Pro, which have all had the stove layout. However, there is a reason Apple stuck firmly to this design, and it's not because they're lazy, it's because the lenses are at equal distance from each other, which allows for seamless switching between the lenses. But now the positioning of the camera helps the iPhone record spatial video, and so moving the lenses around could break these key aspects of the camera experience, hence why leakers have now been suggesting the stove design is gonna stay, and Apple instead is going to incorporate a part aluminium, part glass back cover. As usual, early leaks are a bit of a confusing mess, and it's kind of funny how many leaks we're getting about the back of a phone. But anyway, here's hoping we get a clearer image on the design changes we can expect. Now some of you might be a little confused I keep saying part aluminium because you're probably thinking to yourself, wait up, the Pro phones had titanium, right? Well yes, they did, but apparently Apple's scrapping that and they're switching to aluminium. And you may be thinking why? Well, I think the big reason is color choices. We all know that color choices on the Pro phones are pretty plain compared to the regular phones, and it's partly because the titanium chassis on the Pro phones are very hard to color in bright shades, and so maybe they're moving to aluminium just so they can give us fun colors for once, especially since nowadays functionally these phones are not very different. If Apple gives Pro consumers bright shades of red, green or blue for once, that could genuinely get people to upgrade. I think another side reason could simply be cost. Maybe titanium is just too expensive for Apple to continue using, and so they want to widen their profit margins and use aluminium instead. Yes, that would be a compromise with the durability of the device since titanium is a tougher material, but if it comes in fun colors, who cares? Most are going to use a case anyway, and as I say that, I just realized if you're going to use a case, what's the point of colors, you may ask? Well, clear cases are a thing, and so yeah, basically I don't think the durability compromise with aluminium is that much of a hindrance. Anyway, let's now move on to iPhone 17 Air. Essentially, for those out of the loop, the plus size is dead. RIP, it's not been selling well, and it's funny because that was brought in as a replacement for the Mini, which was also not selling well. And so what I've learned from this is that we don't really need a fourth iPhone in the range. but Timothy thinks otherwise because he's back with a new 4th iPhone, and this time it's a slim model. So this is rumored to be called iPhone 17 Air, which yes, based on what Apple's done in the past, that could make sense, but also do know Air doesn't actually mean thinnest product anymore. For example, the iPad Air is thicker than the iPad Pro, so the name has kinda lost its meaning over the years, but for a product like this, Air would make sense because it's going to be crazy thin. We're hearing this could be thinner than the iPhone 6. Yes, that bendy iPhone, and could apparently be 5 to 6 millimeters in thickness, which is pretty insane when you consider the current Pro iPhones are 8.25 millimeters in thickness. Now, if you're worried about how durability is going to be with such a thin device, do remember the M4 iPad Pro is actually even thinner than the rumored iPhone 17 Air, and that had no bending issues as such, and so Apple can do their engineering magic this time to prevent another Bendgate situation. Now, because it's so thin, there will be compromises with the specs. So for example, we're expecting this to come with one single camera on the back instead of dual or triple cameras that we've come to expect with higher end iPhones, and this single lens will be a 48 megapixel camera that I'm assuming will be similar to the iPhone 16 Pro's main camera. To be honest, that's actually a non-issue. The ultra wide is nice to have, but it's a niche lens and it's softer than the main, and so not everyone's going to be using it. Plus, with the 48 megapixel camera, you do get the option for a 2x telephoto crop, which makes up for the lack of a dedicated telephoto lens. The size of the 17 Air is expected to be right in between the regular and Pro Max size options at 6.6 inches, so in a way similar to the iPhone 10 that was in between the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. And it will have the A19 chipset with 8 gigs of RAM, as well as a new 24 megapixel selfie camera, which piques my interest because it's been a while since the iPhone's got any front-facing camera upgrades. Now, I know some might be confused by this product because its specs are closer to that of a regular iPhone, or worse than a regular iPhone in some ways, but it's going to have a new design that's superior to every other iPhone model. And so who is this actually for? Well, since iPhones have kind of matured and reached their peak when it comes to functionality, there may be consumers who are interested in a phone that looks cool and puts form over function. Also remember that phones are pretty bulky nowadays, and something that's light and slim might be intriguing to some consumers. Do remember that even with the case, this will be less bulky and lighter than a regular Pro iPhone, and so I'm guessing Apple's betting on that market being big enough for the 17 Air to be a success. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching. Right guys, we have new dummy models of the iPhone SE 4 showcasing the brand new design, and when I say brand new, it just looks a lot like the iPhone 14. Let's delve in. So these models come from Sonny Dixon, who's a somewhat reliable source, but also remember we are only a few months away from this phone actually releasing, so we can be somewhat sure this is legit. Also remember, these dummies are usually what case manufacturers use to make cases for upcoming iPhone models.